Hi, welcome to our live stream. It is Wednesday, so I have this second half of our topic. We're talking about learning languages. Welcome to everyone who is joining. If you don't happen to know me, I'm Jen. I'm here every Wednesday on YouTube. You can find my account floating down through here. And I tackle a new topic every week. Our topic, like I said, this week is learning languages. So we have lots of different slides and information to play with today, to learn from each other. And yeah, so I hope that you decide to become part of this community. It's a really nice one. And yeah, and so every week we go live and it's about an hour, hour and a half, vocabulary, phrasal verbs, conversation points. So I'm always excited to hear what you have to say. And especially in a lesson like today, because there's not a one size fits all. It's something different for every person and we can learn a lot from each other. So yeah, let me pull up our first slide for today. I've got a nice little poll. I've got a cough. I'm sorry, I'm still kind of sick somehow. Let me pull up our first poll for today. I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Alessio, if you are there, you answered this question yesterday for us, but I'm curious to hear what people have to say. So why are you learning English? Is it A, for your work or career opportunities, for travel, for academic purposes? So maybe you want to study at a university and they offer the course in English or something like that. Or D, just because, you know what, it's a fun hobby, it connects people. So what kinds of options do we have? Hello, Lorena, darling, welcome. And big question for you, why are you learning English? And it can be a combination, right? Sometimes it's not just so black and white. So if you want to add multiple answers here, you're more than welcome to do so. Hey, Mohammed. Hello, Yuki, darling. So Mohammed, you're saying A, for work and career opportunities, and C, for academic purposes. Okay, so very scholarly. I'll write that word. If you are very intellectual and you like learning, then you are a scholar. And scholarly is the adjective. For my personal interest only. Okay, Lorena, okay. I was thinking for some reason, I don't know why, that it might be for work. Okay, personal interest, nice. Yeah, anybody else want to answer our first question here? Why on earth are you learning English? Maybe there's something on here that, or there's something that you feel that is not on here. Like for me, I love doing these lessons with all of you because it's such a nice community. Hello, Karina, my dear, in Peru. Why are you learning English? Are you learning this for fun? So for D, personal interest. C, academic purposes because you'd like to study. B, for travel. Or A, for work or career opportunities. What can you tell me? I swear I did my hair, but for some reason it's all messy. Hello, Nagara, darling. Welcome. Nice to see you. It's been a while. Okay, so Karina, you're saying for work and for career opportunities. Okay. So, hey, Natalia, darling. Also a nice blast from the past. Wonderful. Hi, sweetie. So for you, everyone who's here, what can you tell me? Why are you learning English? For me, I would say E, the community. I love our community. I think it's one of a kind. I don't know of anybody else that has this really nice sort of situation that we have here where everybody exchanges ideas and information so nicely. For me, it's everything. I love it. So Natalia, you're saying B for travel and C for academic purposes. Would you like to study again? Or is this just for your own intellectual interest? All of them. Yeah, you don't have to pick just one. Yuki, my father took his foreign business partner home all the time. So English was my communication tool with him. Ah, that's nice. I didn't realize that your father had foreign business clients, that he had foreign clients. Okay. Yeah, that was a similar thing with Peter. His father was a professor and his father brought home people to Germany because he's German. He brought people from around the world, all these professors from around the world and scientists. And so he grew up with that as well. That's nice, I think. Hi, Michaela, darling. Why on earth are you learning English? Let me know. Look at this. I got it. It's only our 16th lesson, but there you go. Woohoo, I'm learning. So, yeah, why are you learning English? And Yuki, I guess for you, it's just like, yeah, I love that. I love that when kids have that opportunity to grow up with multiple languages. Sorry, I will turn off this banner. If you don't already follow my account, you can find it here or you can find it there floating around. And I will get rid of it right now because that's annoying. Okay. And let's move on to our next point. How about it? I think that I have another poll. Let me see where I'm going. Yes, we have another poll. Getting a lot of information from you. I think this kind of conversation or this topic is one where a lot of people have their own opinions, and I really want to hear what you have to say. Only for your pleasure. Okay. Hello, Marcia, dear. So hello to you in Brazil. So you're saying B for travel and D for personal interest. Okay, cool. So it sounds like, I mean, it's nice when you don't have like in school, you have the stress, you have to get a good grade or you need a grade or you need it for something. And sometimes when studying, it can be a bit stressful. I'm always happy for people when it comes from just because you want to, not because you have to. I feel like a lot of people in Germany had to learn English pretty quickly in the past like 15 years. Excuse me. And that's no fun. Then it's like a stress, and then it's not a nice thing. I had a private student who worked at a very big corporation, and she came to me because she couldn't speak English. She had learned in Germany back then, you either learned French or you learned English, and she learned French. And so English became more and more important in the business world. And as her career grew, the more important it was for her to learn English. And she came to me after she had had a meeting where she had to give a presentation, and she memorized her entire text. And she was so stressed out that somebody would ask her a question because she really didn't know really what she was saying. So she decided to change it. But it makes me feel so sorry for people who have to learn it and learn it quickly. Learning English is a way to communicate with the world, as most countries use it for business. Yeah, definitely. And with social media, even in our private time, it's a lot where we use it in private moments as well. Okay, let's move on. Let's see where we're headed. Another question for you. Another poll. So what's the most fun activity for learning English? So A, watching movies or TV shows, B, listening to music, or C, playing games in English. So I guess that could be like word games or Scrabble or things like that. D, attending language meetings, meetups, or online lessons. So which activity do you find is the most fun? And for me, I think it has to be fun. It should be fun. If you're not having fun learning the language, then you need to change something because it should be fun. Everything that's fun is easier to remember, to retain. Another word for to remember is to retain. I'm sorry. Is to retain. I have to get rid of this cough before we go to Africa. Retain is a nice way of remembering something, of having it stick, you retain it. Yeah. So we have A, so watching movies or TV shows. Okay, cool. Any other ones that we have that you've, and it can be a combination too. It doesn't have to be just one thing. Does anybody have any good suggestions for playing games in English? Hello, darling. Hello, Philippi, madame. Of course, I will say D, thank you, to be able to exchange and watching movies in English. Yes, I can understand that. So, Marcia, my dear, you're saying B, so listening to music. Okay. A, so A and D for Yuki. Hello, Abba. Hello, hello. So wait, Bentong, is that your name, Bentong? So A and D for Natalia, watching movies and attending lessons. A and D, okay, cool. And we will talk later on more about movies and TV shows and things like that. So actually, we can do that. No, let's do that in a minute, because I would love to get suggestions for you. So have that sort of on the tip of your head. Okay, on the tip of your tongue. So A and D as well. Yes, I'm glad that people like to attend lessons. I love that about y'all. When y'all come here and share your thoughts, it's the absolute best. Sometimes B, okay, listening to music. Sometimes we have to be careful though with music because it can kind of teach us incorrect grammar. Sometimes it's hard to understand. I know even for myself, when I listen to songs in English, I cannot tell you the number of times where 20 years long, I thought that the text was da 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 da, and only to find out that the text is really da 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 da, you know? So even, and it's probably the same in your own language as well. So maybe if you have the lyrics and you can read along and kind of note, what's going on, then sometimes that can make it better. And sometimes they use a lot of double negatives and things like that, or incorrect English because it just sounds better. Watching movies when I don't understand is quite frustrating. Okay. And we could talk about tips on how to do that as well. Let's do this. Let's do, and I don't think I have this as a thing. I read a lot in English to my kid on my Kindle. You can highlight new words. Oh, cool. And it will be stored in your library. That's awesome. Okay. I had no idea you could do that. All right. That's very, very cool. All right, so I have a question, and unfortunately, I don't think that I have it. No, unfortunately, I don't have it as a little thing here. So I'll read it a couple of times just so that everybody's on the same page. Okay, so here's our 2-minute brainstorm or a brainstorming session. How can you use social media, TV shows, and movies to learn English effectively? Okay, so Philippe Madame, with reading, you've said read it on a Kindle, highlight the words, it stores it for you. That's a super effective way, especially if you go back and look at the words. I would probably highlight them and then never go to that list because I am lazy. So yeah, so if you go and you have the list and then you refer to it, what are some other ways that people can use social media and TV shows and movies to learn English effectively? Michaela, what are the things that you do so that you can learn English in an easier way when watching TV shows and movies or using social media? Any suggestions? I have a couple here, but I would like to let you answer the question first before I start popping in with my ideas. So anything that you can tell me, I would love to hear. Any ideas for how to use movies, TV shows, and anything of that nature? And while we're at it, let's just add this together with this. Which TV shows, movies, or social media accounts have you found helpful for learning English? So you can give suggestions and tips. Maybe set the subtitles of the movies in English as well, definitely. What I found very useful when I first moved to Germany was to watch the movie in English first, so that then I could watch it in German and not freak out that I didn't get something. It would be, there would be things that I didn't understand with the language, but because I knew what was going to happen in the movie, it made it less stressful and I could relax more and watch it. More than listening, I read the subtitles. Okay, so again, the subtitles by shadowing, first recording the movie or the TV show, and then listen, pause, and try to repeat whatever they say. Super, very good tip. So we have shadowing and a very good description of shadowing, listening, reading subtitles. I think on YouTube, you have the option, so you could take a short clip from a movie, and if you're new with English or if it's a complicated text of sorts, then you can slow it down. So I think sometimes when people, Michaela, you think you were one who said that when you do the shadowing exercise on YouTube, you can slow it down so you can listen to it at a pace that feels more familiar. And then you can listen to it a couple of times in a slower version, and then slowly speed it up to normal where you feel more comfortable with it. Make foreign steady friends through social media to keep myself motivated and also to practice. Yeah, so creating communities in social media to be able to practice. Super ideas. So doing subtitles, no subtitles, you've already said. For me, and we will talk about this again later on, I think listening to different accents is extremely important. I have people who are like, I only understand Americans or I only understand British people. But what that tells me is you've only listened to either British or Americans. There are going to be Americans that mumble. There are going to be British people that mumble, like, and you don't understand what they're saying. I'll write that word, mumble. But basically, if you don't understand a specific accent, that's more to do with your training. So that means that you should probably listen to some more British people or some more Americans or whatever, and listen to people who speak English with an Indian accent or with an Iranian accent or with a Chinese accent to familiarize yourself. It's great for your brain to be able to understand different accents, speaking a language you're practicing. I use social media and watch TV, movies without a specific aim, only to keep practicing and improving. Yes. Okay, sounds good. Hats off to you. Thank you. Hats off to you. Thank you for showing up. So let's see where we're headed to next. Some suggestions that I have for you with TV shows, and probably a lot of you already have watched this. Friends is a great sitcom for practicing listening and listening skills, and like what Nagar said, with doing shadowing exercises. You'll find a ton of clips on YouTube that you can shadow, where you can just listen to it, repeat it, try to sound like them. Because English has its own sort of sing-songy way that we use the language, and you can practice that. Excuse me. Hello, Lorena, darling. No worries. Welcome. We're talking about shows. Anybody have suggestions? What are some shows, some TV shows, or some movies that you have found useful for learning English? Also, The Office, the TV show The Office, the cool thing with that is that they have the American version, they have the British version, they probably have an Australian version. So you can practice different accents, and it's the same sort of sitcom where it's not difficult language. It goes kind of in a slow fashion. Friends is my favorite show, okay? They are funny and easy to understand. I think it's a great one for learning English, definitely. Another one, Modern Family as a comedy. You can watch that. That's a good one. Hello, Roca. Welcome from Brazil. Hello. So I have two Brazilians here. And let's see, and other movies. So there's a TV show. I've never seen this. My daughter loves this one. I don't know it. Maybe somebody, one of you knows it. So Stranger Things. It's a drama fantasy, simple dialogue, suspenseful plot. So the story is interesting and varied, and maybe you're on eggshells with it. Lots of repetition of key phrases. I have an American friend from Baltimore. She learns Italian from me, and I learn English from her. Super. So you have a language exchange. Very cool. BBC in 6 minutes. I love the BBC website. They have great activities for people learning English. If you don't know that, Google BBC Learning English or BBC 6 Minutes of English. And then you will find all kinds of articles, activities, super tip. Thank you, Silver Star. What about movies? Because movies I have for us as The Lion King and Finding Nemo. So we have a little bit of animation going on. Forrest Gump. He speaks very slowly. And Harry Potter, if your level is a little higher. So ChatGPT told me Harry Potter. I find Harry Potter, like, you need to be, there's a lot going on in that. Maybe the easy thing with Harry Potter is if you have read it before, then you don't have to concentrate on every word. If you miss a sentence, if you miss a paragraph or a section of dialogue, it's not that big of a deal because you know the story. So my recommendations, if you're not comfortable with watching movies yet, yesterday it was, I think that it was Dunia who said that watching movies for her in English was revolutionary. That it like, oh my gosh, the humor, that everything was so much better once you can watch anything actually in the native language. Me in Brazil too. Oh, okay, awesome, Mario. Good afternoon. So we've got 3 Brazilians in our audience. Usually it's the Italians that are in the lead, but our Brazilians are taking control. Yes, I listen to podcasts as well. BBC's 6 Minutes. I do not know of any podcast to recommend. Does anybody listen to podcasts in English? Anything that you can recommend? Any movies, TV shows, or podcast? I watch some drama. I watch dramas many times, first time and second time without any subtitles. And I watched it again with English subtitles to find out what sentence I was missing. Okay, that's the tough version. That's the tough love version. So that's really like jumping in the cold water and swimming and just figuring things out. Which whatever works for you is exactly the right thing. I'm kind of a wimp. I think I would try to inch my way into it, but Yuki, it's probably better the way that you do it because you become less dependent. Yeah, so that's that. Okay, so watching it twice without subtitles, then turning on the subtitles in English to be able to kind of double check to see that you got things correct. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for your suggestions. Let's see where we're headed to. We're headed to another poll. I want to hear what you have to say. So let's see. There we go. All right. Very controversial. No, it's all good. So what type of English accent do you prefer to learn? So A, American, B, British, C, Australian, or D, other, and I'm going to say E, you don't care. You just want to learn English. So what is it that you like? What is sort of your preferred accent? All ears English podcast. I like that. Okay, all ears. I'm going to look for that and see if I can find that easily. Let me take a look. So all ears, and then maybe I can, no, I can't go out of here. All ears English. Okay, I've never heard of this. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to show this. If you Google all ears English, thank you very much, Roka, for offering this to us. 2 ladies back to back. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about it. That's what it looks like. All ears English as a podcast. Thank you so much for sharing that. We want to learn how to speak English, want to learn English to speak like a native or pass the IELTS. All Ears English podcast can help you converse in English and pass the IELTS. Why do you like it? I'm curious. So we have a lot of A's, and Yuki's doing massive amounts of A's. American and British. Australian is more difficult to understand. Natalia's an A follower of A. I find the Scottish accent really difficult to understand. Now, again, I have to take my own medicine here. I don't know a lot of Scottish people. I don't know Scottish TV. I don't know Scottish movies. I've never been to Scotland. So my ear is really not trained to understand the Scottish accent. So I have to practice what I preach, and I need to listen to more Scottish accents. Yeah, right. No, thank you very much, Roka. That's very, very cool for that suggestion. So, Michaela, American, I adore how they pronounce the T. Really? Okay. Especially when they don't pronounce it at all, like an interview. It's easier for me to learn the American accent. Australian is another language of its own. A and B. Okay, so American and British. British is easier to understand. Lorena, my question to you is: in school, did you have an English teacher that spoke with a British accent or with an American accent? Out of curiosity, is that why you find British easier to understand? Podcast better at English. Thank you. Let me Google this one too. Because I don't know any. Hold on, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do, hold on, first one. Let me do Roka's first. Hold on. All ears. Okay. So there we have his All Ears English. So to have as an option, I'll leave that up for a second. And then, Philippi, Madame, my dear, I will add yours. And let's take a look and see what it looks like and what they say. Hold on. So better at English. Better. And let me find my little @ sign here. At English. There we go. Better at English. Okay, it seems like they are a YouTube account, maybe. Is that a YouTube account, Better at English? Because I have found it here. I think this is the lady. Is that her? Better at English. That would be a podcast as well that you could check out. Let me get rid of Rokas. Thank you very much for All Ears English. And let's switch it out for Philippi Madams. Hold on 1 second. Here it is. Okay. Or this one, which I think is on YouTube. Excuse me. I'm living in England now. Okay, Mario. But I learned in Brazil the American accent. It's very difficult understanding people here, right? It's like what we're used to, for sure. I sometimes have problems understanding the British as well, but my ear is just not trained like it should be. One of my daughters stayed in Australia for 1 year, and she speaks English with a different accent. So she probably has an Australian accent. Although, to be quite honest, I've met a lot of Australians nowadays that have more of an American accent. And I asked one of the people that had this accent, I was like, how do you have an American accent? And they said, because so many people watch American TV shows, you pick up this accent automatically in Australia as well. I found that kind of interesting. So let's see. My favorite is American English, but also British English for understanding. So again, it's one where understanding British English is easier. Roka, question, did your teacher speak with more of a British accent or with more of an American accent? I always find that, like, with my students, if their teacher spoke more British English, they get it better. If they spoke more American English, that's easier. So let's see. When I went to school, my English teacher had a Naples accent. Right, that happens too. My kids had English teachers that had a really strong German accent, but taught really well, had great ideas, but strong accent. Confident English, it's an amazing podcast. Okay, thank you, Mohammed. Let's pull it up and take a look. I think it's good to find these so that we know we can all, like, let me pin yours. Let me see real quick. Thank you very much, Philippi, Madame. And let's see, Confident English. And I'm going to take a look really quickly and see if I can find it so we know whether this is on YouTube or whether this is just something you can find on the World Wide Web. Confident was English. And I'm probably going to have to write podcast on here. Podcast, otherwise there's going to be, could it be Speak Confident English maybe? Let me do podcast. I'm not sure. Mohammed, is that Speak Confident English maybe? Is this the lady on YouTube? Lots of shout outs to my colleagues here. Okay, we've got a commercial. So hold on. She speaks, sorry, I'm not sure what that means. Southern American accent. Howdy. Yes, I'm from the South, so I can do a real strong Southern twang for you if you want. More American English. Okay. In Italy at school, we learned British English, and that was the same a lot. So in Germany too, back in when we were back in school. I know from my ex and from Peter. For me, the American accent is the easiest one to understand. We were forced to read British novels. Aha. Okay. With British grammar, but pronunciation was American. What? That's so funny. Okay, that's so random. Why is this not playing? Oops, hold on. Let me just go to her account real quick and see if this...
My students are often surprised.
Okay, I think, Mohammed, is this the person you're talking about on YouTube? Speak Confident English. Is that who you're talking about? Because this person has podcast. Okay, but one. So I don't know. I'm not sure. All right. So we've shared a lot of info. Super grateful for your tips and with different podcasts to check out. We have a lot that we can play with. Let me find where on earth we are, where I'm taking you to next. Yes. And I cannot emphasize, if there's an accent you don't understand, it really is a matter of training your ear. If you understand the Brits better, listen to some Americans or listen to some Australians. Hello, Alessio, my dear. All right, let's pop on to our next thing. And we have some vocabulary that is related to pronunciation. So let's see where we're headed. Okay, so we have the words intonation. We have proficiency, fluency, accent, and pronunciation. These are kind of long words, so let me go through these words again. Let's kind of repeat them maybe together. So number one, intonation, intonation. Number two, proficiency, proficiency. Number three, fluency. Fluency, I'll do it again. And number four, accent, accent. Five, pronunciation, pronunciation. So let's see. English, Canadian, very look American, but different. Yeah. The Canadian English is slightly different. You hear vowel sounds sometimes, like they say about. There's this owl that comes into words sometimes. For the most part, you're like, okay, this is an American sounding English, and then boom, a vowel will happen, and you're like, oh, okay, what was that? So they out themselves in that way. They have a certain little thing that they do to vowel sounds. You're right, that's true. Okay, so thank you very much, Natalia, keeping us on our toes. I will read the definitions right quickly. A, how words are spoken. B, the rise and fall of your voice, pitch during speech. C, the way someone says words. D, a high degree of skill in a language. Or E, the ability to speak or write a language easily. So everyone's saying one is B, and you are correct. Intonation, the rise and fall of the voice during pitch during speech. So yes, so I think I'm not sure. I think that Chinese is a tonal language where they have like certain language that it goes along with the characters. English, the annotation is a very sing-songy kind of thing. Do. So it's not monotone. You have some languages that are very monotone and they talk like this. Yes, so it's talking about the rise and fall of the different ways that we speak. The name of the podcast is thank you. Confident Business English. Thank you. Let's pull that up right quickly. Hold on. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to pull it up, but I am going to pin your comment here. So if anybody's looking for another podcast, the name of the podcast is Confident Business English by Anna Conley. Thank you very much for looking that up. I appreciate that. All right, Silver Star, my dear, you have 2 is D. Is anybody else saying D? Natalia is. Okay, so proficiency, 2 is D, absolutely. A high degree or skill of a language. So you have proficiency in a language. You can be proficient in English, for example. Number 3, thank you very much, Natalia. You've got E for us today. Anybody else guessing something for fluency? Fluency. What's number 3? What can you tell me? We can go with E. How about that? Excuse me. Fluency is E, the ability to speak or write in a language easily. And like we talked about yesterday, I am very sensitive about this word because I think a lot of people put unnecessary pressure on themselves to be fluent. And the definition for most people of being fluent is perfect, and nobody's perfect. Nobody, even native speakers, they screw things up. So don't do that to yourself. Enjoy the language, have fun, try to communicate. That's the most important thing. If you can say the things that you want to say and be understood and understand what other people are saying, you're doing a good job. All right, so we have 4. Natalia is saying C, and so is Nagar. Okay, so you're probably right. And yep, 4 is C. Accent is C, the way someone says words. So somebody mentioned earlier that in the southern part of the United States, you can have an accent. So I come from Tennessee. Our accent is one that actually a lot of people in the United States find unintelligent. I'm sure in your country you have areas where some accents people say, oh, they're very fine. Or in some areas, that sounds like they're stupid. Or in some areas it's like, oh, they sound very country. And in my accent, or the accent from the area I come from, quite often is seen as unintelligent. I think it's a very pretty accent. It's very soft. For example, to give you an idea, when I was 14, I moved from Nashville, that's the southern part of the United States, southern Nashville, Tennessee, to Los Angeles. And of course, the accents are totally different. Southern accent, West Coast accent. And people during recess would crowd around me and would say, like, say this word. And so they would say 5. And I would be like, 5. So like the vowel sounds are really long. And like they'd say boat. And I'd be like, boat. So like all of the vowels are really long and drawn out. And that's the accent of a Southerner. And we also get rid of endings. So like the G on an ending. So if you say I'm fixing, you'd say I'm fixin'. Or I'm getting. So it's a lot of, it's like endings that are sort of chopped off and long vowels. Anyway, excuse me. I'm glad you like my accent. Thank you. In Italy too, there are different accents from north and south, right? And you identify like people somehow with that. Like we have that in Germany too. If you have an accent from Eastern Germany, or if you have an accent from Bavaria, or from where I am now, like the accent that people have here is supposed to be like the, sort of snobby accent. And I hear a difference in the different German accents, but I love the Bavarian accent. It's really sweet. Okay. Yeah, it's easy to identify, right? And you don't want to label people because that's totally unfair, but somehow we get sort of brainwashed into believing certain things. I love the Southern accent. I think it's nice. I'm rolling with the American Southern accent. All right, last but not least, number 5, pronunciation is, what's our one? So A. So how words are spoken. So how words are spoken is the pronunciation. So sometimes in a lesson I will say, when we have face-to-face, like, oh, that's great pronunciation. The way you said that sounds great. Or you pronounce that word beautifully, something like that. We can recognize where people are from by listening to their accent. Yeah, definitely. Super way of using that in a sentence. Great way as well, Lorena. Thank you. All right, so these are some words that have to do with our spoken language. And so, yeah, just wanted to share those with you. And we will boogie on to our next poll. This is the lesson of different polls, because I want to get your opinions about these things. So let's see. All right. How much of a perfectionist are you? All right. So you want everything to be perfect. Is it A, everything has to be perfect? B, I try, but I'm not too hard on myself. And C, good enough is fine for me. And D, perfection is overrated. And I mean this more when it comes to learning English. Let's be specific, because in my life, I'm a massive perfectionist about many things, about our lessons, about, things that I create and do, a mega perfectionist. But when it comes to learning German, I'm actually more C. Good enough is fine for me. I don't know. And it's a bad attitude, I have to say. I will wholeheartedly admit it. But somehow, I don't know. I'm not sure. So, how do you feel about learning English? Are you a perfectionist? It has to be every word in the right spot, the right tense, the da 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 da. Or you try, but you're kind of easygoing on yourself. Or C, good enough is fine. You know, people get you. If you make a mistake, whatever. Or is D, I really don't care. Excuse me. What can you tell me? What is your level of perfectionism? C is definitely for me. Okay, good. I'd say B. Okay, I try, but I'm not too hard on myself. Okay. Any other answers here? I think Silver. So Nagar, you were saying B. You try, but you're not hard on yourself. If you listen to someone speak like with a potato in the mouth, it's British, certainly. Really? Oh, Lorena, that is so funny that you. Oh, sorry. No, no, no. Mario, because in Germany, they say if you want to speak American English, you should put a piece of chewing gum in your mouth and chew and talk at the same time. That's how Germans say that the American accent sounds. Which they're probably not wrong, but whatever. I don't like that. No, I'm kidding. I think it's true. In the past, I was a perfectionist. Now, C, definitely. Congratulations, darling. So flaw. Okay. So, oh wait, sorry. I will go with C. I should work on that flaw. Okay. 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 I missed your comment. Sorry. And Michaela, definitely C. We have a lot of C's here today. C's and a B from Karina. Definitely C, right? Chewing gum, and that's like, you know, Germans are funny because they're so direct. They will tell you this, and it's like for them, it's not insulting at all. You know, like what? You don't say that. It might be true, but come on. Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. So let's think about some fun ways that we can learn English. Okay. Let's brainstorm for like 2 minutes and any ideas that you can think of. We've already said watching movies and things like that. So let's try to come up with some more creative ways that we can practice English. Yuki, I'm thinking of you because I know you do this already. So Mohammed, you were D, which is like perfectionism is overrated. And Roka, my dear, you were saying that you try, but you're not hard on yourself. So let's think of fun ways that we can learn English other than like going on social media, watching a movie, anything fun, anything outside of the box that you might do to practice English. I don't have this on here, but I'm going to start with like online shopping. So you learn vocabulary for clothing. You learn vocabulary for, you know, like when I'm in Spain, instantly everything that I do goes into Spanish. So I start learning a little bit of Spanish by going online, and you know the dress is no longer dress. I think it's vestidos or something like that. So yeah, you can learn it that way. Hello, German. Hello, Laura. So if you have the opportunity, you should travel abroad and exchange to a foreign country. Definitely traveling abroad is a great way, an outside of the box kind of way of learning language. Actually, it's the best way. Falling in love is a great way to learn a language. Even if both people, I know so many people who are from different places and they just choose to speak in English because that's the language that they both understand. So it doesn't even have to be falling in love with a native speaker. It could just be falling in love with a foreigner and you find the middle ground language. Oh, and I set my settings in English. That was one of the tips that that ChatGPT gave me. That people should do that. I would get so lost. Respect that you can do that. When I was living in Turkey, I learned many things from online shopping. Right, so useful. When I was living in America, I tried very hard to be professional, but finally I realized it's just a language to communicate, right? And most people are so excited. If you go to the United States and you have an accent, people are excited. They want to know where you're from, you know, and they want to learn all about you. So having an accent and is actually a really great way of meeting people because they know you're not from there, and then you can get to know people. So perfectionism in that case is also not necessarily a good thing. Other ways, Yuki, I was thinking of you. You love cooking, and I know you use a lot of recipes that are in English. So that's a fun way of being able to practice a language, learning new vocabulary, learning like sometimes with recipes they have like a whole book about the recipe. So practicing vocabulary, practicing reading comprehension, learning new things and doing it in another language is a fun way of being able to practice English. What else have I got for us? Karaoke. That could be a fun way. Not if I'm there, your ears will bleed if I sing. Playing games, we said, singing songs. So these are all ways of sort of outside the box how you can practice a language in sort of a fun way, like trying to make it an interesting thing. Vestidos, yay! And I'm trying to think of what shirt is. I don't remember what shirt is. Bluse? Maybe? I don't know. That might be German. Okay, so let's move on. I've got a banner here for us. Let's see. So, curious to hear what you would say. Would you use a device, excuse me, that instantly translates English into your language? Why or why not? And what would be the pros and cons? So let's just say that I have nothing here. Let's say you have this little device, you have this little object, and you can put it in your ear. And everywhere you go, when you speak, people also have this device, and so they can understand what you're saying, even though you're speaking your native tongue. Oh, that just came out of my mouth. That's hilarious. And vice versa. So you can understand each other. Would you want this? And what are the good and the bad things about this? What could you tell me? Let's see. So it's so funny that you said this because when I was in New York, everybody was in love. Oh, for sure, with your French accent. Are you kidding? Definitely. And I was trying to sound like a Native American by hiding my accent. I totally get that. As an American living in Germany, everywhere I go, all I have to do is say hello. And they're like, oh, so, they start speaking to me in English. I get that. But sometimes it's a good thing. It does help you to connect with people. I watch a lot of cooking shows and recipes. Yes, exactly. So Michaela, once I had my phone settled in set in English, and I wasn't able to understand Google Maps. Oh no, instructions to find the hospital in Livorno. It was a terrible experience. I can imagine. Oh no, you had to find a hospital. Ay ay ay. Yuki, me too. I love watching videos on YouTube and TikTok on cooking. Yes, Bluzo. See, shopping, online shopping. Yeah, in foreign languages, it can help. Yeah. So, what do you think? Let's say that you're able to get this little thing, you put it in your ear, and everybody understands you, and you can just speak the way you normally speak, and it's instantly translated for other people. Good thing, bad thing, something in between. What do you think? The language of my devices in my whole life is always English. Y'all are good. I think I would not. I've lived in Germany for 20 something years. I still would not do that. No, because learning a language is helpful also for our brain to fight illness like stroke. Right. And dementia, I think, too, right? It helps to kind of like make all the synapses in our brains sort of congeal. I don't know if that would be a good idea. I might become lazy. Oh, I would definitely become lazy for sure. Excuse me. Yeah, I think I would become lazy. I think the nice thing is you're instantly connected with people. There's so many times in German that I want to make a joke or I want to say something and I cannot think of the right way to say it. And you want to be fast and you don't want people to get impatient. So having a device where you can be yourself instantly is a wonderful thing, right? I think that could be a really cool thing. But I think like things like what we have here, where we have a community and we can speak with each other all the time and we're practicing and using our brain, like Alessio said. I think there's a lot of value in that. I just saw this conspiracy theory thing with my daughter. She always shows me conspiracy theories, and there's one that's about the future of AI, and it is so scary because it feels so real, like this can totally happen. I already see it with myself with ChatGPT. I throw in so much stuff to ChatGPT and I'm like, you do it. And I don't even say thank you or please anymore, very rarely. And so, yeah, I'm a really bad boss and lazy. And this will make it even worse. Devices would be helpful, but I wouldn't feel comfortable relying on something that might stop working at some point. Another good point. Yes, it could be useful, but I would lose the opportunity to practice English, so I would not use it. I think that kind of device is useful on business, okay, and official situations, or when I'm in trouble abroad, okay? I cannot work with Persian language phones. I switch to English, then I work. Okay, really? Wow, y'all are much more advanced in English than I am with my German. I start freaking out, like, but I guess that's what you're used to. Used to have Word only in German, and then I switched it to English when I had the opportunity to do so, and I was lost. So it's what you're used to, I guess. The good thing is to have the ability to communicate with multiple in multiple languages except English. Yes, really. All right, so let's see. So thank you for sharing your opinions about this. Let's move on. I have another poll question. We have 2 more poll questions, and then we're good. Let's see, where are we? Okay. So, do you feel comfortable practicing English with native speakers? So, oops, let me get rid of our little banner there. Hold on one second so that's not so crowded. So, do you feel comfortable practicing English with native speakers? This kind of goes into the perfectionism thing again with yes, very comfortable, somewhat comfortable, not very comfortable, not comfortable at all. Yeah, so how do you feel about that? So A, yes, very comfortable, cool. And A, and I think you're Terry, right? And please tell me your name because I cannot read your letters. Is this Cyrillic? I think I learned it. Yes, I think that you're Terry. I try to translate all the time. I get confused. It has been found to respond spontaneously. So I am wrong and people kindly correct me. Yes, and I think that most people who you come across, they're just excited to speak to a foreigner. It's nice to be able to get to know new people, especially like if you live in some places where there aren't many new foreigners, then to get to meet someone new is amazing. And I know for myself, I would never be unkind to someone who's trying to speak English. It definitely brings out the empathetic side of someone. And if somebody is unkind to you, that definitely speaks about them and not you. Especially with you, Jen. Oh yes, I have to write my name in English. Okay. Eric. Thank you, Eric. I'm so sorry. Is this Eric? Yeah. So my Eric, it's definitely not about the nationality, but about the person's personality, definitely. So C, not very comfortable. Okay, Mario, we're going to change that, okay? B, somewhat comfortable. A, I feel lucky to be able to practice English with you and our community. I feel the same. Marcia, not very comfortable. We are going to change that. We're going to make that so that you feel way more comfortable. So keep coming, come hanging out and practice with us on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. or no, actually 4 p.m. Then I'm going to start going live every week and adding people. So if you want to come and talk to me on Tuesdays at about 4 p.m., 4:15, then please do so. Come and practice with me every week. I will bring the topic that we're talking about for the week so that we can chat and you can practice your English, communicate with each other. So I find that really important that we have that element as well in our lessons. Sue. Okay, let's move on. All right. I feel the same. Okay. So, one, do you think it's important to learn about culture when studying a language? So, number one, is it important to learn about the culture when you're studying a language, or why not? Um, yeah, and let me see really quickly where I'm going with this. Why do I only have two here? I should have three. Aha. And what I mean by this is that, like, for in German, for example, it's a lot different culturally, of course, than the United States. In the United States, we love and hate everything. Like, I love this water, right? And I hate this coffee. And in the German language, you don't say that. You don't use love and hate for things like water. You use that for things that you really like, more profound things. And so to understand the culture, like, it's strange for me to say ich liebe pizza. I mean, people do it a little bit nowadays, but yeah, but not so much, right? So that's something that would be like a cultural difference. How did it? Okay, and this is kind of number one and number two. Let's do one and two kind of together because I think they kind of go hand in hand. How does your native language influence the way you think or see the world? So yes, do you to understand speakers better? Yeah, definitely. And like, for I know that a lot of Germans think that Americans are very superficial. I will write that word. It's a good word. Superficial. Um, to make sure I'm spelling it right. Superficial. So let me add that and plop it up there. So a lot of Germans think that Americans doot, doot, are superficial. That means they're fake, that they don't really mean stuff. Like, you go into a store and somebody's like, how are you today? And every German will tell you, Americans don't care how you're doing. That's just fake. They just want to sell you things. So for Germans, they feel that, like, this nice sort of atmosphere that Americans try to create is fake. Now, some people are fake. Some people just want to sell you something. But in the language, the way we use it, there is this cultural identity. We want, like, on a playground, you will hear American moms tell their kids 16,000 times, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I think I said this recently in a live stream. And that is so classic. So you will hear Americans say a lot of positive things. It's part of our sort of cultural DNA to focus on the positive, to say nice things. If you think something nice, say something nice. And that's not the cultural DNA in Germany. So a lot of Germans misinterpret the way that Americans speak as being fake and being superficial. Dang it. Superficial. So that's something that's kind of a cultural thing to sort of understand in a language. When I say things like "Ich liebe das," or "I love this," then they're like, no, and so it's good to understand these so that you can come across in a more authentic way, or let's say not authentic in this case, I would say more, I don't know, in a more natural way, something that works with the language that you're speaking. And so maybe you have some of these kinds of things in your language as well. Yes, it's important to learn and to respect, definitely. Just as, like, in the States, in Germany, it's totally fine to walk up to a stranger and tell them something you don't like. That's culturally 100% okay. In the United States, I don't know. I think somebody might have a gun. You don't want to do that. It is also just not culturally okay. We don't do that. We don't talk about the things we don't like about a person, if we don't know them. And, you do that behind their back. No. Yeah. I think that if you want to understand a culture of a country in a deep way, you need to know their language. Yeah, I think so too. It is very important to integrate, understand, and know them. Hello to you, Malik. Hello to you. So yeah, so I think that these are things that are kind of interesting. A lot of Germans, they think Americans are superficial, but it's part of the way that we speak. It's part of our culture. It's how we've sort of been brought up. It helps us to escape confusing situations. Definitely. Okay. If you have anything in your language that you can think of that you know from like different languages, having learned different languages, I would love to hear. Colombia Activo. Hello, Colombia Activo. Let's see. Americans look like always in a hurry for a job. They need to make money. We are, and that's something I love about Europe. There's so much more calm here. It's so much more relaxed. You can sit in a cafe, and Americans are like, okay, let's eat, let's go. Eat at the desk and work. I can also do that, but I really appreciate just sitting in a cafe, enjoying the sun and people watching. I love it, with no real purpose, having a nice glass of wine on a sunny day and just sitting there and enjoying the ambiance is wonderful. We don't really do that in the States. In fact, they turn on the air conditioning so things are very cold in fast food restaurants. So you eat and get the hell out of there because it's too cold. Because they act in a way that might be completely different from the foreign country, right? Okay. How can you survive in Germany? It's a beautiful country. It's a great country. Yeah, but I travel a lot, and that's a good thing. It's good. But I love it here. The problem, I think, in Germany is most Germans here don't realize how amazing this country is. So it's a sad thing, I think. We live in an amazing country, and most people here just don't get that. We have great health insurance. It's safe. This education system is good. It's nearly free. So as an American, I'm always like, why is everybody complaining? I don't get this. Help. But anyway, yeah, anyway. So last thing for today. Um, oh, you should definitely come to Paris. We love the sit in the cafe. Yes, I love that in Paris too. And I love it's so beautiful. I love Paris. So yeah. Last slide for today. And just as a question, I'm kind of curious to see where everyone's going. But how do you measure your progress in English? Okay, so if we say we're kind of trying to take it easy, the majority of us here are trying to be like, okay, I want to learn something, I want to do my best, but I'm not going to kill myself. This is not school. So, excuse me, how do you kind of measure your progress? How do you see if you're getting better or not, if you even care? So, I don't care. It can also be an answer. A, test scores or certifications. B, fluency and conversations. C, understanding native speakers. Or D, writing skills. And you can add anything else you would like to this as well. So B and C, so fluency in conversations and understanding native speakers. We have B, fluency in conversation. Yeah. Being able to speak. I love French. I do too. If I could learn a language instantly, I would definitely learn French. It's so beautiful. Fluency in conversations. C, understanding native speakers. We have a lot of B's and a lot of C's. Okay, so no test, no writing skills. Let's just keep it cool. Keep it simple. I get you. All right, folks. So that is our lesson for today. I appreciate your time. If you have any comments or anything that you would like to add, if you would like to add a sentence right now with something new that you learned in our lesson, please feel free to do so. I will turn this slide off, go back to our comments, and otherwise I would say goodbye. I'm going to cook some dinner tonight for my son. It was his birthday in January, at the beginning of January, and we were not here, so it is our celebration tonight for his birthday, and I need to make something nice for him. My daughter is in town, so I'm a little quiet this week. It was very loud last week. I was live every other hour, it felt like, but this week will be a lot quieter. Fluency and conversation, we need good listening skills and writing. I'll tell him you said happy birthday. I will go live, speaking of being quiet, I will go live again on Friday at 3 p.m., same time we went live today with our quiz. I found a lot of fun little questions about languages. So it'll be kind of a language quiz, longest alphabet, shortest alphabet, different types of things here and there. So I hope you'll be able to join me on Friday here on YouTube. I will definitely put a little thumbnail, so if you want to be reminded, you can click on that to be reminded. And for those of you who don't follow me already, but you happen to somehow be here, well, hello. You can follow me. This is the little account right here. I go live every Wednesday. Well, actually, now every Tuesday for about a half an hour. It turned really long yesterday. Went for a long time yesterday with speaking lesson on Wednesday, and on Friday, I will do a quiz. So you have lots of learning activities with me. I will tell him happy birthday, Yuki. It's a monotone language. It's funny you say that. Is French a monotone language? Oh, I just think it's so beautiful. I'm not sure. And for me, monotone languages feel kind of like, I have to listen to French more. I don't trust tests, okay? Because I am not good at pressure. Me too, right? I totally go blank when it comes to tests. I can know everything, and then I'm like, wait a minute. Is this a trick question? I start questioning who I am, where I am, everything. I hear you. Is he the one who visited Japan? He is the one who visited Japan. He loves Japan. Thank you very much, Lorena, for the birthday wishes. I will pass them on to him. In fact, I will tell him, I keep telling him he needs to watch my live streams to help my, my numbers. So maybe he will see your birthday wishes if he actually listens to me and watches our live stream. So my sweet boy, happy birthday. He's never going to watch this. Anyway, so have a lovely day. I hope to see y'all on Friday at 3 p.m. Take care. I love Japan. Me too. Such a great country. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your time with me. I sincerely appreciate it. Take care. Bye.